That was a fun surprise. Google changed their verification method, so I had to verify it was me. And of course, I had already turned off my phone, so we didn't get interrupted. Um, but we're good now, and now I know for next time. Um, so, welcome to the Pretty Poinsettias class. It's been way too long since we've done a class. Um, my schedule's been kind of busy lately, and I know some of you have had some not fun events. I hope everybody who had COVID is feeling better. Um, this is the last class I have scheduled for the year because I figured as we're approaching the holiday seasons, everybody is pretty busy. But we will get started again in January. So hope you'll join me again in the new year. These cards are pretty easy from this point since you have your kits. I'm just thinking there's something I didn't add to the supply list. Let me check. Since they're all already stamped and cut out for you. So what we're going to do is there's 8 cards, but there's 4 different cards and 2 designs of each. My samples here show the 4 different cards, and then we're going to be doing the opposite of these. So when I say the opposite, everywhere I have green, we'll be putting down red, and everywhere I have red, we'll putting down green. Now, if you like one of the colors more than the other, you are welcome to change it up. And if you want 2 that look like this and 2 instead of 1, whoops, sorry about that. I kicked my my scoreboard. You are welcome to do any variety that you would like. Now, for future reference, if you want to make more of these cards, all of the pattern paper that are put on these cards are cut from one piece of 12 by 12 paper. So this is the paper I used. It's one of our Christmas papers this year. And we've got the red plaid and the green floral. So every single piece of pattern paper on these cards, on all 8 cards, are cut from one single piece, and we use pretty much every scrap of paper. And in the instructions I sent you, there is a cutting diagram, so you can do that yourself and make more of these cards if you'd like. The only thing we didn't use was this zip strip. So that's available if you want to on your own cards. Now, I believe this paper is sold out. I have a few sheets left. If you need to make some more cards and you'd like more of this paper, let me know. Also, the stamp set is sold out. So if you want to buy this stamp set and thin cut set, I'm selling mine. It was just used to make the card kits for the class. I'm selling it at the discounted price of $28. It was originally $37. And also, I bought this. Okay, Lindsay, it's all yours. I bought this embossing folder, which I had thought I was going to use to make samples, and I did not. Trying the best way to show this here. It's clear, so it's hard to see, but there's poinsettias on it, and it's the same shape poinsettias, and these these little branches here are kind of a toss design, and I did not end up using it. So if you have an idea and would like to use these, use it, because this is also sold out. It's brand new, and that's $9. The Christmas supplies on the site are selling fast. There are a lot of things sold out. So if you do need some more supplies to make your Christmas cards, you might want to check them out very soon. Also, in terms of sales, the last few years we've had Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales. They don't tell us ahead of time when there's going to be a sale, so I don't know. But keep a lookout in your email because there may be sales coming up. I don't know what might be on sale. I just don't know. So it's a surprise to me as much as to you. Just want to give you a heads up. There we go. Just looking for my gems. Okay, so enough about all that business. Let's get started here. And we will start with this card here. So look for your envelope that has the big piece of paper. The biggest piece of paper. So it's 4 by 5.5. And honestly now, it's been so long since I made the kits, I don't remember. But I think I may have put all of the supplies you need for both cards in one envelope. I think I did that, and then I gave you 4 extra envelopes. So you had enough envelopes. I think that's how I arranged it, but you guys know best since you have the card kits in front of you. Okay, so we are going to do our standard folding here. We have a 4 by 11 inch card, and this is White Daisy cardstock, so there is no right side or wrong side. It's 11 inches wide, or really tall, so we're going to score at 5.5 inches. And that'll be the same for all the cards. Okay, I'm just going to burnish that. Okay, now like I said, I am going to do the opposite of what this card shows. So like I said, when you're cutting out your piece of paper with the card diagram, from the cutting diagram, you'll get 2 of each size paper to make 2. You can either make identical cards or opposite color versions. So I am going to do the red one tonight since I've already done the green. And this is this piece of pattern paper should be the same size as your card front. So you're going to put your adhesive on the back. And when I put on a piece of paper that's the same size, I always start at the folded edge. And I make sure I line up my paper with the folded edge. And the reason for that is that if one of the pieces is longer than the other, and in this case it is not, you can trim it on the cut edge. It's harder to cut on the folded edge because you could cut that folded edge by mistake. Okay, I'm getting confirmation that I did put the supplies for both cards in the one envelope. So you can choose to make whichever one you'd like. All right, so the next piece I'm going to put on is this strip across the bottom, and I'm going to use the opposite color that I just used. So I used the red. So I'm going to put the green on here, and I'm going to put it about 1 inch from the bottom, and it doesn't matter. You can eyeball it, but if you want to be exact, one way to do that is to line up your ruler, and then you can just line up your paper with that ruler. If you have a hard time doing that, you could always draw a line with your ruler, move it out of the way, and then line it up with the line. But like I said, it's not crucial that it's exactly at 1 inch, so you can just eyeball it. Working on one of these mats helps too, because you could always line up the bottom of your card, and in this case this grid is 1 inch, so you can line up the bottom of the card and you know that's 1 inch across. And for our gold glitter paper, now this is the glitter paper. You saw me just put the adhesive on it. It is the paper, so it does not have adhesive on it. So you have to add it. We're going to put it about 1/2 inch, a little more than 1/2 inch from the left edge. Actually, the funny thing is you can see the right edge of it is 1 inch away. So what I can do, and like I told you before, the better way to do it is start at the folded edge. So I'm adding starting at the folded edge and bringing it down. And see, I'm lining it up with that 1 inch line. It's another way to line them up if you need help. And you can see this piece is a little longer than my card, so it's good I did that. And I always turn it upside down, and I cut from the back because I can just line up my scissors there and make a nice clean cut across. Sometimes when I'm cutting accessory pieces kind of like this, I will cut them slightly larger for you just to make sure they are long enough, because every ruler, every cutting device, every measuring device is slightly different, and there is human error too. So sometimes you think you're cutting exactly and then you're a little short. So I'd rather it be a little long, and then you guys can trim it than you're stuck with a short piece. Okay. So next we are putting on our accessories. So I put the poinsettia on with foam tape. So I'm going to put that piece on first. Well, actually, I'm going to put the foam on first. What I'm going to do is add the adhesive to all the pieces, and then I'm going to start putting them down, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm just using my nonstick scissors here. Boy, I was recently working on a project, and I didn't have my nonstick scissors. Well, long ago they used to be nonstick scissors, but they have lost. They are now sticky. They've lost their coating, so they are not as nonstick as they once were. And boy, it was a challenge to cut this, and I was like really wishing I had these scissors when I was doing it. Okay, so that is probably a little overkill with the foam tape, but Now we know it's not going anywhere. Like on the sample, I put just about every other petal, and that works fine too. So some people love to put the foam tape on, and some people are a little more sparing. So whatever works for you. All right, now the banner, the Merry Christmas banner, and the 2 holly leaves, those I'm just going to put regular adhesive on. And you can use your double-sided adhesive, or you can use your glue. If you use your glue, you're going to want to work a little more quickly, or you can just put the glue on one piece at a time instead of putting them all on at once like I'm doing. I'm going to take my backing off of my foam tape, and I'm just working over my garbage can here. Okay, so the reason I prepped all the pieces with the with their adhesive is because you can see these 2 holly leaves, bring it up a little bit, are going to be behind the poinsettia. And because I put so much foam tape on there, I want to make sure that those can get underneath the poinsettia and the spacing is right. So if they're all ready to go down, then I can kind of maneuver. So I'm going to put my poinsettia down, but I'm kind of holding it and not really sticking it down. So the way I have it positioned on my sample here, none of the leaves are covering up the gold, and we've got just the tip down here at the bottom touching the horizontal strip. You just want to make sure there's room to get those leaves on there. So basically by holding it up a little bit there, I can stick my holly leaves underneath, and I know I could get them. They're not going really far underneath, so it's not that big of a deal, but I can position them where I want before I go ahead and stick that poinsettia down. And then the banner is just going to be placed over the intersection of the gold and the green. And I've got just a little tiny corner hiding under that poinsettia there. When you overlap elements like that, it makes it look more like a cluster versus just individual elements placed. Okay, so this is the kind of tricky part, and you don't have to do this. I did not want to put a gem on the center of the poinsettia because it's already raised up by foam tape. And if you put a gem on there, I'll show you here. We've got a shine. It'll give it more height and more likely to have problems jamming in the postal machine. But I wanted it to have a little glitz. So I did the really fussy thing, and I punched a circle out of gold glitter paper. So you'll notice I gave you a piece of a small piece of gold glitter paper with your supplies that you can punch a circle out of. Now I used an 1/8 inch circle punch. I will use a 1/4 inch circle punch so you can just see the difference. And if you want to wait, if this is a little extra fuss for you that you're afraid you can't keep up, you can do this after class. But so what I did was punch that 1/4 inch circle out of the piece of glitter paper. And now this is an alternative you can always use to gems if you don't have gems, but you do have glitter paper. Or you don't want that bulk when you're sending it through the mail. Because I know sometimes people do have a problem with it. And I'm just putting a dot of liquid glue on the back of it. Now you can also use glue stick or glue pen. The other thing you could do is you could put adhesive on the back of it first and then punch through, although then you have to worry about your punch getting sticky. So this one, the 1/4 inch, you can see actually covers up that whole circle a little better on the green. My camera's a little farther to the right than normal. You can see that the smaller one on the green doesn't cover up the whole center of the flower, but the 1/4 inch does. So whatever you have that works. The other thing you can do is color it in with a marker, especially if you had a metallic marker, but any color marker will do, or colored pencil. Okay. And then the other fussy part, which again is totally up to you. And this is the supply I believe I forgot to put on the supply list. So you may not be prepared for this. You may have to run and get your markers or just wait until after class. But so let me get a piece of white paper so you can see this a little better, I hope. All right, well, this is mostly white. These gems, as you can hopefully see, well, you can see your own gems, are silver. And they would look lovely on the card as silver. But because we used gold glitter paper, I wanted to show you this technique. Now, this is an alcohol marker. This one is gold yellow. If you don't have alcohol markers, a Sharpie is an alcohol marker, and Sharpies come in a bunch of different colors. This will not work with a water-based marker. It has to be alcohol. But you can use these. I have showed this before, but you can use these to color your silver gems. So I'm just using the medium shade of this marker because there's a light and a medium and a dark. And what I'm just doing, hopefully you can see that. You can see here, this one I colored red. That is the red remainder on the carrier sheet around from when I colored. And I am just coloring over this gem to make it more gold. Now, looks a little yellow here, but when you put it on the colored paper, that changes the shade. So we're using, on this card, we're using two large ones and one small one. So if you wanted to try this technique, this might be something you want to do all at once, is just take all of your gems and color them all and then let them dry, and then you can put them all on the card at the end. Okay, so I'm going to be careful. The alcohol inks dry pretty quick, but because it's on a non-porous surface, it does take a little longer. So I'm just going to be careful and try not to touch them too much. But as I say that, I know I'll fumble them. And the other thing I like to do when I put the gems on a card, you've seen this before, is that I do like to add a dot of glue to give it a little extra adhesive, especially since it's a card and going through the mail. You don't have to. They have adhesive on them already. This is just a little extra security I like to do. And I just, the tiniest little dot, especially for the small gems. And you can see I'm just putting those 2 dots right there on the bottom right of the card. And then I'm going to put one up here as well. And it takes a few minutes for this glue to dry, so I can put all 3 dots on there at once, then add the gems, and it'll be fine. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so in the bottom here, I'm going to put a large one, and I'm just picking up my gem with my X-Acto knife. You can use any kind of tool you have, because I'm trying not, never mind. You can pick them up with your fingers as well. But that doesn't always work for me. So I tend to use my knife. You just got to be careful because it is a knife. Although my blade right now has so much glue on it, I don't know how well it would cut. Oops. That just stuck to my finger, so. All right. So that's all that's to it on the cards. And I did not stamp the insides of the cards for you because I don't know what kind of greetings you like, but I'm sure everybody's got Christmas card greetings. And if you need something, let me know. Now you can see these gems are a little more yellow than the ones on the green I might have used. I will try to use the light color on the next one and see. But the whole point was to make them more gold than silver. No, the shimmer brush is not an alcohol marker. That is like a watercolor. I don't believe that'll work. All right. So those are the first 2 cards. Slide these over so I have room for the next one. Maybe my camera's not farther to the right. Maybe I'm farther to the right. Okay. So this will be our next card. So you've got a large panel, not quite as large as the last one. And a smaller rectangle. Aha, I see I used another marker that I may not have told you about. I'm sorry about that. I didn't write up the supply list until last week, even though I wrote the directions a month ago. And so, you know, you look at it and you go, yeah, you only need these things, and then you forget there's something else. So we're going to need a red marker or a red pencil. to color these berries if you'd like. You don't have to. I'll give you a second if you have to go find your markers or your coloring supplies. Actually, what I'll do is I'll color my gems for the next card so that they can dry. Okay, I'm going to use the... Yeah, this must be the color I used on the samples. Probably have it written down if I look. Yep. So I use the light, blend, the light tip. So this one we're just going to do one large and two small. So again, I'm just coloring over. And I like to make sure, I like to go around the sides to make sure I get the sides. And that's why I get that circle on the carrier sheet, like you saw the red one. Now, if you don't have a gold, you can use red as well. They'll look better on the you could use green as well. I was just going to say the red would look better on the green, and they would look kind of like berries. So if you don't have a gold marker, perhaps you have a red one or a green one. Or like I said, you can just keep them the silver. Okay. Yeah, and I just use the light tip on that. So I can put those aside and let them dry. Gold stickles will work too. Yes, absolutely. Gold stickles would work instead of the circles. Yeah, no, not on the gems, but you can use them in the circles, or instead of putting gems on, you could just put dots of stickles on as well. That's a really great suggestion, Lindsay. Thanks. I know last year or the year before we used red stickles on our Christmas cards, but it gets a little challenging to mail those, so I haven't used them since then. Okay, so again, on our 11-inch side of our card, we're going to score on 5.5. And I don't suggest you put your scoreboard on top of your supplies. I'm just limited on space here. That's when you accidentally crush something, or you put it over something that's drying with glue on it, and then you put it there so it would be safe, and then you put something directly on top of it, and it's, you know how it is. Okay, so so again, we have our card, and I am going to use the red side of this larger piece of paper, and this piece is going to give us a white border around it. So it's 1/4 inch smaller than the narrower than the width of our card. So when I place it down, I'm going to center it left to right and leave the same amount of space at the top, which is 1/8 inch. And then we have about 1 1/4 inches at the bottom. Then we're going to put on our green rectangle. And we're going to put this up about 1/8 inch from the bottom edge and 1/4 inch from the edge of the red paper. So we're 1/8 of an inch from the bottom and 1/4 of an inch from the edge of that red paper, which would be about 3/8 of an inch from the card, the side of the card there. All right, so that's our background. Actually, I goofed that up. Sorry, we were supposed to put our gold on before we put on our green, and you can put it on top, or you can peel your green up. Luckily, I did not really burnish that down, so it was easy to pull it up. Sorry about that. Just noticed. So on the sample, I put that gold strip butting up against the bottom edge of that red plaid, and then the green goes over it. And I see here that my gold strip is just slightly, ever so slightly longer than my card. So again, I'm going to trim that edge off. It's just a sliver. But if you put your green down gold really good and you don't want to peel it up, you could put that gold right straight across. Okay, so all of these pieces have foam tape on them. The only one I'm going to warn you about is this poinsettia, and you'll notice that the holly leaves are going behind them, and they are going behind it a little more than on the previous card. So we do want to get them underneath. So we just want to make sure we don't put foam tape too close to the edge on that poinsettia. If these were flat, you can slide them under like we did on the first card, and it would be easier. But because these have foam tape on them too, you don't want to create an instance where you have 2 levels of foam tape. So just beware of that. And I'll show you as I'm putting the foam tape on that poinsettia. And for the poinsettia, it doesn't, I don't know which way is really supposed to be up, down, left, or right. So unlike on some images, when you have to be careful when you turn it over, you get the right or the left. You can just pick one side when you're adding the adhesive. Okay. Look at how small my roll of foam tape is getting. I have to purchase. I just placed an order yesterday too. I should have kept. Well, this will last a while, but I got to remember that I do need to get some more foam tape. Just make sure when you put it on your berries, you need a small piece there because it is a small piece. Okay, so you see here I'm leaving the one side of the poinsettia without adhesive because that's just going to lay on top of the holly leaves. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to put on is the banner. And I'm going to put this over the gold strip just so there's a little bit of overhang over the edge of the green rectangle here. And then my berries will, just the very tip of it sticks under that berry. I mean, banner. The berries stick under the banner. Okay, so I'm going to put my holly leaves on first, and then I'll put the poinsettia on last. So again, because we are clustering these, and you might want to make some adjustments, when you put them down, and look at it, put it backwards, because the bottom that will stick under the poinsettia is the wider, the bigger part of the holly leaf. I'm just kind of going to place them down and not press down and not stick them, because that way I can adjust their positioning if I want to. And I am going to overlap these two leaves just a little bit. And then my side here without the foam tape, that'll be the side that, whoops, will overlap those leaves. And then when I'm happy with the position, I can go ahead and press down. Now I have my red alcohol marker here. Actually, this is the coral one. I just want to check this color before I actually use it. It is not crucial when you're coloring these berries that you use alcohol markers. Unlike the gems, you can use any kind of marker, any kind of colored pencil. You want to color your berries if you want. And you can color them before you attach them, because it's such a small area. I wasn't worried about that. If it was a big image, yes, I would definitely want to color it before I attached it, especially since it's on foam tape. But that's easy enough to color in. Just those 4 little circles. And now we are going to put our gold center in our poinsettia. Now this is the smaller poinsettia, so the 1/8 inch hole punch fits perfectly. I'm going to cut out that, whoops, went flying, that 1/4 inch, and just see how it looks. It's not too big. Whoops. But you can decide what look you like better. This is the 1/4 inch. This is the 1/8 inch. You know, it's hard to see unless I get the light to glint off of it, and then you're not really even seeing the gold. You're just seeing a blast of light. But I'll go ahead and put that 1/4 inch on. Definitely is a little easier to work with the 1/4 inch than the 1/8 inch. The 1/8 inch is a little fussy, but it's doable. The other thing is, if you don't want to try to get the glue on your circle, you could put the glue on the center of your flower and then put it in. That's probably even easier. See, you can tell it's been a while since I've done one of these. I'm all out of whack. Okay, and now I can put my glue dots on where I want my gems, because I did already color those in. So I'm putting 2 down here, kind of between the flowers and the berries, and then 1 here above the holly leaves. Now, if you're not a gem person, you don't have to put them on at all. My My sister-in-law, I always make her Christmas cards. She never wants gems on them. I assume that's because of mailing her, and she mails a lot of international cards, and maybe it's an issue, but I never put gems on for her. But I like the glitz personally. So I've got the gold one down here closest to the banner. I know you guys know I like the glitz since I'm always adding it in different ways. And another small one up top there. Whoops. So these are these two cards. Oh, I see the messages that I'm buffering. I don't see that I'm buffering. Is it back to normal? I don't want to continue on if you guys can't see me. Okay. So if anybody else is having trouble, Lindsay went out and came back in, and there's no buffering now. So if you're having trouble, you can try that. Cheryl, no trouble. Hopefully it was just a little glitch and we'll be okay for now. I'll just hold on a second just in case. I'll color some gems. Some more gems while we wait. Okay, so it seems like everybody is back okay. But I am coloring my gems for the rest of the cards, so with that we're good. And that'll also give you a second to catch up if you need to. This is a good thing if like you had a ton of these to do, like for all your Christmas cards. You certainly could sit in front of the TV or something and color these all in. Okay. Put those aside while I need them. And moving these aside so we have room for the next ones. All right, so this one we'll do this one. This is a horizontal card. So it's got the longest, a long skinny, not too skinny, but strip and a smaller rectangle. And 2 poinsettias, both a large and a small for this one. Okay. I never know if I put it back where it's supposed to be or just left it on my desk. All right, so on the 11-inch side, we're scoring at 5.5. I know everybody, almost at least most people in this class are math people, so that shouldn't be a tough one for you guys. All right, so on the long piece, I'm going to do that in red. And again, this is the width of the card. So as I said before, I'm going to line up starting on the folded side of the card and also the bottom edge. And it is the same, pretty much the same length of a card. There's a sliver. I will cut it. But it wasn't enough that needed to be cut. Okay, so let's do this in the right order this time. I'm going to do our gold strip. And that is going to be placed right up on top of the red. And again, I started on my folded side and my strip is a little long. So I'm going to chop off that. And then I'm going to use the green side of the smaller rectangle. And I'm going to place that in the left upper corner of the card. It's funny, it looks smaller in my hand than on the card. And it's going to be about 1/4 of an inch from the top and 1/4 of an inch from the left. And that's our background. I'm going to put the banner on first. And that goes with just regular adhesive. And we're going to center it on that green rectangle. Okay, and we're going to put adhesive, foam adhesive on our poinsettias. This one petal / leaf of the poinsettia is overlapping, of the big one is overlapping the small one. So again, you just want to remember to leave foam tape off at least one tip of the large poinsettia. And then our 2 ferns are going to go flat. So we can go ahead and put our double-sided adhesive or glue on those 2 pieces. And then we can put foam tape on the 2 poinsettias. I am supposed to be in Penfield on next Tuesday, Lindsay. So I will try to drop off your stamp set then, if that works for you. Unless I happen to see Cheryl sooner, but I don't know if you guys are seeing people yet. Okay, so remember when remember I said to leave that one tip of the poinsettia without any foam tape, and then I just have to be careful that that's the tip I overlap with when I attach it. I'm going to take all the backing off the foam now so I can do as I've been doing and position those all the pieces at once. Okay, nobody else has claimed it, so I will drop both of those things off to you. I guess you have a plan for the rest of your Christmas cards this year. Or next year. I don't know how ahead of schedule you are. Okay, so I know that this tip is the one without the foam, so I'm kind of positioning that in kind of the 1 o'clock position when I'm placing it down. And I want this tip to overlap with the green square. But again, I'm just kind of placing it down. I'm trying not to stick it down. I'm going to stick the smaller poinsettia underneath that adhesive-free tip. And then I'm kind of putting this fern beneath both of them. Now, if you're not as persnickety as I am, and this is too fussy for you, you can just go ahead and place them down. And then I'm sticking the other fern down in the bottom left corner, so to speak, of the large poinsettia. And I'm happy with that, so I'm just sticking them all down. Okay, and I'm gonna punch out 2 more gold circles. You can see a little piece of this paper goes a long way. So if you like this technique, it doesn't use a whole lot of paper. And the only bad thing about this technique and not using a lot of paper is then you save every little scrap, because you go, oh, I can use that scrap for something in the future. And, you know, the rabbit hole that causes. So I'm going to go ahead and put my dot of glue in the middle of each flower. And put my circles on top. Now, if you had both the 1/2 and the 1/8 inch hole punch, you can certainly do the larger one on the large poinsettia and the smaller one on the small poinsettia, and let everybody know how fancy you are, how extra fancy. Um, 37, Lindsay. So those are our sparkly centers. And now we're going to add our gems. So we have one in the bottom right corner. We have one kind of above the tip of that fern, and one to the left of that fern. And figure out where I put my gems. Whoops. we've got a big one down in this right corner. And a big one, I miscounted when I was coloring before. Big one up here. And a small one down here. And where's my other one? So those are the two versions of that card. Okay. Last one. So this one you can see I cut the poinsettia and the leaves all out of colored cardstock. So and then stamped them in black. So that gives you a different look than what we've been doing with the colored stamping on the white cardstock. So that's an idea for you. And one last time, we're going to score our cardstock at 5.5. Well, one last time here in class, you have, unless you worked really super speedy, you've got 4 more cards to make. Okay. So the first piece I'm going to put down is the wider green strip. And that's going to go right at the bottom of the card. It's going to go right to left and along the bottom edge. And my card is just slightly wider than my paper, patterned paper. So I'm just going to trim that edge there with my paper cutter so I don't have that pesky white edge sticking out. You can also trim it with scissors if you need to. All right, then I'm going to put my skinny red strip on, and that's going to butt up right against the top edge of that green strip. And then we're going to put our wider gold strip on, and again, that's going to butt up right against the white. Against the red. And then my strip is just slightly wider than the card, so I trim that. And that's our background. All right, so on this card are red poinsettia, our banner, and the white the berries that are stamped in green on white cardstock, those 3 pieces are going to get foam tape. Our 2 holly leaves and our 1 fern and our 1 berries, all in green, are going to be attached flat, so they'll get regular adhesive or glue. And you may notice that I tried to vary which side I stamped on. So like with the holly leaves, it's probably going to be hard to see on camera. But I one on the darker cardstock and one on the lighter cardstock. So that's the nice thing about our cardstock being double-sided. You get a lot more shades available. So I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive on my green pieces. Now the berries is a little challenging because it's so little, so you might find it easier to use glue. But what I do is this ATG tape is really forgiving, and I know it's out of focus, but you can see that that kind of blurry next to it, that's the adhesive hanging over, and I just kind of make sure I tuck it behind my piece, and that seems to work pretty well. I am putting foam tape on my other pieces. And in this case, on this card, you don't really have to worry about making sure that any of it doesn't have foam tape, because the pieces that slide underneath are flat, so you won't have to worry about the double layer of foam tape. Going a little lighter on the foam tape on this poinsettia. Like I said, that really is plenty to make sure it sticks. Okay, so the first thing, I'm going to go ahead and do the down here, the banner and that green berry first. The top of the banner is going to overlap the red strip. And you know what? You can't really see that green on the green. So I'm going to put it, like here I have it here. I am going to put it up there on the red and the gold so you can actually kind of see those berries. Okay, I'm going to lightly place down my poinsettia, overlapping the gold. But I want to be able to stick those the greenery down, so I don't want to totally stick it down. So I'm going to put the fern up there. I'm putting the darker green holly leaf next, and then the lighter green down towards the bottom. And then I was happy with that, so I made sure they stuck down well. And then the white berries can overlap them a bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and color in those berries. This is another thing that if you had red stickles, you could put red stickles on these and get some red glittery berries. If you don't know what stickles are, they are a glitter glue. Comes in this kind of bottle, and then you can put little dots, or you can actually put it on with a brush if you want a bigger area, to cover a bigger area. And I am going to punch out another circle and put that in the center of my poinsettia. Okay, so I have a gem on my first sample over on this corner, but I put my berries there. So I'm going to just make a cluster of 3 over here. And I colored 3 more small ones until it's too small and a large. So I'm just going to go with it, but you should have a large one to put down. Ooh, this one's being persnickety. Okay, so I would put the large one down here, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a small one because that's what I colored. So these are these 2 cards. So there we go. There's our whole collection. I hope you enjoyed them. It was nice to get back to class tonight. Like I said, I wasn't planning on doing another class until January, so I hope to see you then. If you have any questions, let me know. If you need any supplies, let me know. Okay, Mom, just let me know which leaf it is, and I will send you one. If anybody's missing any pieces, let me know, and I will get them to you. Thanks, Cheryl. I'm glad you like them. They are, I like the paper. I love that red plaid paper. It's so cute. And the green, they make a really nice traditional red and green. And the poinsettias are beautiful. So, you know, it's nice to do something different for Christmas every year. If you think of it, you get a chance, can can you give my video a thumbs up? And enjoy the holidays. I can't believe Thanksgiving is next week. That seems so totally insane to me, but I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Good night.